This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Alright, now that we're done with the job, time to do every Shadowrun game is after a mission is talk to everyone. Greetings and salutations, viewers. While we're back here with another episode of Shadowrun Hong Kong. In the last episode, we went to the museum and tried to take stuff out of it to keep it from being put in the hands of an evil person, evil corporate dude, even though this whole world is full with that and you're not really going to change that. But little steps, I guess. But alright, now we're out of the mission, and like all missions, you can go to the boat, talk to everyone, and talk to everyone in town. Not every single mission has this, but usually, at least for a while, we're going to have at least a bit of dialogue with everyone. So it's another episode where nothing much is going to happen outside of talking to people and kind of just seeing where people's stories go. So just for a heads up for those who are curious. A disheveled man in filthy rags teeters on the sidewalk, wobbling on unsteady legs. His bloodshot eyes start about desperately, and the acid sweat odor that wafts off him and buzzes unpleasantly in your nostrils. Try to slip by him and continue. Nah. You okay, man? You have to help me, man. His teeth grind on as his grip tightens. His hand feels like a vice. I need your help. If you have a strength of 5, you can break his grip, but since I'm not that strong, I'm a wussy little man. Let go of me. You smell like rotten cabbage. The man ignores you, stumbles, pulls himself up, using you as a support. Under the layers of filth and grime, you can see his designer logos on his tattered clothing. You need to get a message from me to Handsome Lee. Never heard of him. Now, who are you and why are you touching me? I'm Steven Dynamite. He nods eagerly, desperation in his eyes. A sluggish tongue wipes itself over the cracked skin of his lips. Look, you gotta help me. I've been poisoned. That crap that Lee sold me put bad things in my head. Whenever I close my eyes, I see dark, narrow tunnels. So many. Hands grabbing, razor-sharp teeth gnawing, and the children. Poison? Sure, it's not a bad trip. The man gives a hollow laugh. I know my way around substances well enough to know a bad trip when I see one. This is something else. Alright, I'll do what I can do. Then tell Lee what he's done to me. I need relief. Tell him I want... His sentence trails off. You've been a little vague about that, Steve. Need something particular? I want my money back. His reedy voice wavers, but he stops and says no more. Poison, nightmares, money back. Got it. Anything else? Just please come back and please hurry. Alright, we have to find this Lee fellow for the situation. But let's keep looking around while we do that. Anything to say, Kai-Fi or whatever? The young troll bouncer manning the doors in the midst of patting down a prospective patron with enough force to dislocate a shoulder or hip, while other shady-looking patrons walk idly past him into the club. He waves the shaken man inside, propelling him forward with a final pat on the back. People don't realize that you gotta check for internal weapons as well as external ones. And how do you know to do that? It got down to science. You just need the right technique. Matter of fact, I caught a guy just last week with a phosphorus grenade in his leg compartment. And what'd you do? Disarmed him, of course. Caught it back behind the bar now. I'm gonna blow it off in the river. Impress some girls. You mean you dislegged him, right? Anyway. Looking for a pat down yourself? I'll be good, I promise. You'll break that promise and I break you. Now, what do you want? Are you a member of the family that owns this place? Sure am, Frederick Kai Farr. Some call me Freddy. Some call me Shit No, Please Stop, or something along those lines. I'm also the current record holder for the Club 88 pitch and toss, which is to say I throw deadbeats harder and farther than anyone else around these parts. High watermark is that piece of tape over yonder. Guy was an orc too. Hefty, but he simply soared that day. Hefty, hefty, hefty. Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Are you running any business on the side? No, I may take the occasional payment to look the other way, be it in the can or when a fart breaks out, but I have enough on my plate that I can't really take on much else. Training, you see, I love what I do, but you gotta work hard to stay in peak condition. I've also got some next steps in mind, so I'm working even harder towards that. Big plans, you just wait and see. I also play the drums. Why are you searching some people and letting others in? This is a private club. There's 3 kinds of people I let in. Members, guests of members, and people who make a good case. The latter 2 get a really good search before they get in the door, unless they're with Colonel Chang or the Emperor of Japan or something. I don't care if someone has a cyber spur or holdout pistol or whatever, but we can't have serious weapons or non-members inside. Ma sells some big stuff, but she puts electronic trigger locks on her merchandise until they're out of the door, so people don't get dumb ideas. This is no assassination safe zone. Serious weapons go into the weapons check, unless you're a member. That way, if a big file ever breaks out, the members will have the upper hand. We keep the killing very rare. Most happen when some members get all filed up and decide to settle score with box cutters or something. So I'm a member now. You worked for Conley as a Shadowrunner, no less. That makes you a member. Remember the rules, no faulting unless you know. It comes down to that and you're ready to skip off the concrete. No killing either. If you got legitimate killing business to do, go do it as someone else. People come here to have a good time. You're really just trying to minimize collateral damage, aren't you? Pretty much. I'll leave you be. Alright, let's go inside the club and see how things are going. Alright, let's talk to a few people. Let's talk to the family while we're inside. So, Henry, the father, how are you doing? The Patrol Patriarch of Club 88 gently polishes a collection of old wood belaying pins. These are but a few of the nautical touches that struggle vainly to assert their theme against the club's otherwise glassy neopunk decor. Back again? Not another ship passing in the night, eh? You a sailor? Once long a time ago, but now I'm forever at port. Sounds like you miss it. Do I not strike you as a king of island nightlife? You look more like you want to bash the house speakers with those pens. Now there's an idea. So how can I help you? What was it like, but out on the high seas? Better when I was younger. Things were simpler then, if not terribly profitable. Got my start on fishing trawlers, just barely scraping by. Good folk, though. Over the years, I made a name for myself, as one does. Got more regular work on better crews, eventually earned a spot on a tugboat. Spent the bulk of my years crewing ocean-going tugs for Wu Jing. The big ships, the tankers, the bulkers, the container ships, the seabed miners are all run by technical crews and computers now. On the smaller merchant boats, there's still a little seafaring left, but not much. But on the tugs, the supply boats, the salvage craft, that's where there's still a place for old-time sailors. It's a matter if you wrap a cable on a winch in 30-foot seas, jury-rig a diesel engine, and keep a boat on course with just the wheel and the binnacle after the bridge windows are all blown out. It was a hard life, but a good one. Why the change of vocation? Why does a man give up drinking or sell his trike or throw out his porn collection? For a woman, of course. I had the one hell of a woman. Still do. This place was her dream. A business, a home for us together. Hard to deny the worth in that, no matter how much I missed that one I once had. Shouldn't a relationship be willing to give up stuff, but also willing to help the others? He helped her, so how's he helping him? Well, you know the obvious reasons, but anyway. No, sir, no regrets. No regrets at all. I'll leave you be then. If you're in a happy relationship, what am I to say otherwise? Expo. Oh yeah, you're one of the people I can hire. Not gonna do it though. A wiry elven woman leans over the bar, propped up on one elbow. She glances back at you over her shoulders as you approach, lifting a half-empty glass to her lips. The selection here is total crap, but it's cheap. I hope you're not looking for quality, or you're gonna be really disappointed. Damn, I was hoping for some classic cocktails. The woman snorts and dips her pinky into her drink and to fish out a stray gnat. If you ask real nice, I think you've got some tonic water in the fridge. Aside from that, you're as likely to get drain cleaner as you are a splash of bitters. Even a simple Manhattan probably beyond the means of this joint. Call me Expo, by the way. Expo regards you calmly, her eyes calculating. In a few seconds she nods. Maybe we can help each other. How do you mean? I've got a good eye for people in the business, and believe me, you smell like Shadowrunners and Union. Plus, everybody here's been talking about Conley's new hired help. I'm out here for work. You need any backup? I'm available. What's your specialty? I'm what the eggheads call a mystic adept, kind of a physical adept magician. I throw spells I can kill with a touch. I'm rarer than unicorns, my friend. Expo lifts her glass, draining the last of it. Cheers. She sounds like someone's OC or something like that. Do not steal. Where are you from, anyway? All over, really. Born and raised in Sydney, but ever since I was 15, I've been traveling everywhere there's work. Not a whole lot of opportunities for a street kid whose only skill relate to beating people up. I've lived in Paris, London, Vladivostok, Caracas. Hell, I've even spent a year in Johannesburg, but Azania is full of assholes. Your Cantonese is pretty good. I don't hear an accent. Expo taps the base of her neck with 2 fingers. That's because it's chipped. My own concession is cyberware. When you move around as much as I do, linguisofts pay for themselves pretty quickly. They're not perfect, but they get the job done. Doesn't that make you a less effective wizard because you have cyberware? How'd you get into this life? I grew up on the streets, running with gangs. Turns out if you get in enough street fights and have magical potential, things just naturally express themselves. Once that happens, I realized I could change a lot more than the protection rackets I'd been running. Besides, it's not like I know how to do anything else. I've never been to school. I'm sinless. What else am I gonna do? Panhandle for change? Shake down stuffer shakes for beer money? No thanks, mate. I'd rather live fast, hit hard, and bum out. Got any good runner stories? Running a hand through her hair, Expo leans back as she thinks, yeah, I got a couple. There was this one time I signed on with some mercs in Eastern Europe. They had a job to do. Krasnodarska Krai, lifting some Abkhazia military software. The plan was pretty simple. We'd halo jump from a drone on the Russian side of the border, hike in towards the Abkhazia research facility, and blast our way in. The Abkhaz forces were supposed to be Matrix hotshots, but crap in ground combat. Simple, right? The elf shakes her head, eyes rolling. No plan ever sufficed first contact with the enemy, though. Turns out the Abkhazia army has contacted out base security to Winter Systems. We started getting cut apart before we even breached the first cordon. Did you have to bug out? The mercs were in pretty dire straits financially. It was a do-or-die situation for them, literally. They owed too many debts, and if they couldn't deliver, they'd have been killed. So we pushed in. We were down to 5 of us by the time we got in the main facility. One of the mercs, Vaklov, was a trigger. We were hunkered down in a vehicle bay while the Decker did his business. Vaklov realized one of the APCs hadn't been properly locked down, and it was still gassed up. Came out of the base with 30mm cannon blazing away. Our exit was down the coast, a riverine patrol boat the mercs had on standby. It was some nervous fighting, but we managed to get out. A bit full of holes, sure, but we survived. And that's what counts, hey? See you later, Expo. Expo lifts her glass and salutes. See you. You know how to find me if you need me. Nope. Not gonna pay for people that the main party is better than it in any way, so. And they have more personality. Callum Kai-Fi. The eldest son of the Kai-Fi family appears to be less inebriated than before. Though there is still a drink clutched in his massive hand, he's parting ways with an uncharacteristically awkward elf who palms something as she goes. Evening, Callum Kai-Fi. It's service. We met once before. Have we? I suppose one of us didn't make much of an impression. I think I liked you better when you were plastered. Well, here's to becoming a better man in your eyes. He takes a drink. Now you're in the market for something. I got Bliss, Jazz, Graham Nitro, and a dozen other little concoctions that the West doesn't even have names for. What'll it be? I'd like to know a little bit more about you. Me? What would you want to know about me? I'm nothing. I sling poison that drags Heoi. It's not like I ever wanted anything more than this, right? I can see it on your face. You probably see it all over mine. What good would an education serve someone like me? Why would I ever consider making something of myself? Go places? Sure, I can fill out a suit like no one's business, but people see a troll in a Monty, and like they see an organ grinder's monkey. No, this is a place for me. This is where I belong. How many shots does it take to lay out someone your size? And I'll let you know if it ever happens. Alright, and then, yeah, you can buy drugs from them still. Alright. Let's see how the mother's doing with her and her weapons. It doesn't take a Shadowrunner's eyes to tell who runs Club 88. Even the roughest of patrons showed deference to the troll woman in the back. It also helps that she lends a veritable arsenal of high-grade firearms. Back again, I see. Didn't catch your name before. Didn't catch yours either. I'm Wiggles. Never mind, Kai-Fi. Pleased to meet you. We get a lot of passerbys, though. After their business with the dockman or the yellow list, they get escorted here to relax and shop. Then they leave, having to never know their names. But you're a different story, aren't you? It's because I'm the main character. How have you been? Not much. Yep. So, what can I do for you? Have you heard of a man named Raymond Black? It seems I seem to recall a blurb on the news, but I didn't pay much attention. Not a name I know, and it was a name not worth knowing. I'd know it. Tell me a bit more about this place. Club 88, we bought it 10 years ago. Before that, my husband crewed ships for Wuzheng. He'd be gone for weeks or sometimes months at a time, and I was sick of it. Raising 2 boys on my own. Troll boys? Huh. We needed something more stable, and I needed a husband at home. So we retired, and we put everything we had in this place. The 88 stands for good fortune, and the club has proven worthy of the name. If only some people appreciate that success instead of whining about things they'll never be. Alright, I'll leave you to it. Yeah, just not much. Like I said, just minor story stuff, but hey. You get a little bit of the stories of Heoi. Actually, quite a bit more than in Dragonfall. In Dragonfall, they only had a couple characters, and they usually only talked once, and that was it. So, this is probably why I like Dragonfall, or why I like Hong Kong a little bit more, just because you get a little bit more stories from all the side characters. Even though Dragonfall, I think, has the better story and some of the better main characters. Dragonfall has a bit of this, but let's see how Ambrose is doing. I am our fellow countryman returns. You want some chips and dip? Help yourself. It's on the engine block. A spider drone walks past you carrying a biohazard bag with a severed arm in it. I was doing the wrong voice with them. There's a big Sahara Combat League race tonight. Everyone's coming over. You want to come? No, I bet Colin was keeping you busy. You're from the UCAS Midwest. How'd you land in Hong Kong? Ambrose bites one of his nails and regards you with a hint of suspicion. Well, that's a long story and kind of personal. It involves some jobs, a girl, a real good reason to leave Chicago, and a whole shit done, a ton of guns and money. No place like home, Chicago. Chicago, are you following the news of the quarantine? Ambrose's face darkens. Yeah, I am. It's a terrible thing that just happened there. My old hood is inside the containment zone. A lot of good peeps locked behind that wall. And unfortunately, since we don't have Shadowrunner, we can't ask him that. It would have been supposedly it's insect spirits, but it's been covered up. But that's Shadowrun's Returns is basically what they're talking about. I read the postings on your wall, the ones about bug spirits. Yeah, some of the leaked material is pretty convincing. Ambrose shakes his head sadly. Mega Vetus plague, bug spirits. I'm not sure which is more scary. Hell, maybe it's The Walking Dead. Think about it. We got at least 4 HMHVV variants. I think it's only a matter of time until we get zombies. I mean, there's technically ghouls in this world and stuff like that, especially if you play the original Shadowrun game. Ambrose gives a nervous shiver. The nearby robotic arm trembles briefly. It takes zombies over these bug spirit things. Tell you what. Well, to kill the bug spirits, you need very unique weapons and guns to do it. So, guns and money were involved. Sounds like a good story. Shadowrunning? Yeah, stuff like that. Ambrose smiles. He seems to warm up a little. That was a hardcore vehicle rigger back then, before Johnny Law cracked down on the road rigs. Man, those were the cowboy days. Freaky as hell, but great to remember. Ambrose gets a wistful look in his face. We rebuild trucks and chop shops, reinforce the frame, bolt armor on, mods of suspicion with robotics, drive them right through the front window of buildings, and then bash aside Lone Star cruisers on the way out. Good times. How'd you do that in Hong Kong? You do that in Hong Kong, you get auto barricades and a missile in them. A crying shame. Anyway, I need to get out of Chi-Town, spread my wings. A nearby spider drone fidgets. You know how it goes. Hong Kong seems like a long way to go just to break from Chicago. Ambrose smiles, but there's a steely look in his eyes. Sometimes a guy just needs to change the scene. Girl was involved in you getting here, huh? Yeah, there was. He shrugs awkwardly as if to make light of it. His voice has a hint of strain in it. That's a story for another day. It's grand digging up the wreckage of the past Wiggles, but time's wasting. I left Chicago, landed in the Kong. After a while of running the Kong Shadows, I landed here in Chrome Alley. That's really the gist of it. Now we better get back to earning a living. Think about Ambrose. Time for me to go. Cheers, Wiggle. Time to talk to you later. All right. Cool. Let's keep talking, everyone. So, more people. Yeah, quite a few people to talk to. It might be a bit much, maybe, but I do like hearing people's stories and stuff like that, you know. Some are more interesting than others, I'll admit. Usually the main characters have more interesting stories than the side characters, but... Shen is busily counting out cred sticks as you approach. Shen's hands move quickly, fingers undeftly sorting them into small plastic bins. The labels on the bins bear names. Steel Arm Lu, Grandfather Woe, Lucky Ping, and Conley Chang. Shen's eyes flicker up at you for a fraction of a second before returning to the task. One moment, I'll be done shortly. A few last ticks of the wrist see the final cred stick sorted in their respective bin, with the lion's share going to Conley and Steel Arm Lu. Now, what was I can do for you? You pay a lot of dues to the yellow lettuce? Shen shrugs, obviously indifferent to the amount the shop's being taxed. I do, but that's how the system works. I pay Conley for the rent. Steel Arm Lu gets money because he's my superior, and Lucky Ping receives the finder's fees for goods she sends my way, and Grandfather Woe took me in. He gets paid because he's family, and I owe him for getting me off the streets. You join the organization, you have to pay the dues. It's the same as anywhere else. It beats the hell out of being homeless in Kowloon. Stuffing the boxes away below the counter, Shen produces a box of assorted needles and inks and begins cataloging them in a patterned PDA. You don't mind paying? Not really. Grandfather Woe saved my life by taking me in, you know. Life expectancy for homeless kids in Aberdeen isn't very good. Because of that, I have skills and friends who pay to make use of them. It's a good life, all things considered. Shen leans back against a stack of cages, causing the snakes within to hiss and snap at the glass. I'm just a blue lantern, a foot soldier. I answer to White Ming, who I studied with on Wudang Mountain. He's the 49er, the man who made me runs our crew. I don't pay him because he takes his own cut of what we make. Well, that's all for now, Shen. I said some people were more interesting than others, so oh well. Not everyone has to have the most impressive story ever existed, you know. Let's talk to these smugglers here. Two men in the dirty synth leather jackets look up from the conversation at your approach. They both look haggard, their shoulders slumped with exhaustion, and neither appears to have shaved this morning. What do you want, man? We're talking here. I'm new in town. Figured I'd pay to make all the connections I can. A grim chuckle rumbles out of him. You chose the wrong day, stranger. We're moving further downstream and we're doing it today. There's something wrong with this place. Too many bad dreams. Yeah, what sort of bad dreams? The kind that bite. You see it too for stay here too long. The long haul and the thing in the ivory crown. I've already seen it. He licks his lips, nodding. Lots of people in town dreamed it, or something like it. From the folks I've talked to, there were a bunch of different visions. Some people turned away from the corridor, went to down alleys, that kind of thing. I've never ever set foot in the walled city before, stranger, so tell me, what the hell am I dreaming about all of a sudden? I don't even know what the hell the damn thing looks like on the inside. I think there's something strange going on, something magical, and the walled city is where it's coming from. He grunts. It's a curse, nothing else it could be. Everyone knows the place is haunted, a living hell full of evil spirits and poison key. If you're not careful, you wind up trapped inside with the rest of the human garbage. His companion cuts in, and you catch a healthy whiff of alcohol in his breath. This isn't going to happen to us. No way. Only the lowest of the low wind up in the walled city. Looks like he said we're going further downstream. As soon as the things are packed, we're out of here. Damn right. This place is a dump anyway. Let's try our luck in Macau. To hell with this place. Best of luck then. We can say the same to you. You're staying here in Heoi after all. Of the three of us, you're the one who's most likely to need it. Yeah. Alright, let's talk to Law over here. We'll have to talk to him again later after a point, but for now, we'll talk to him now. Dude. Clickety click click. Maxwell Law surveys the docks from beneath his meticulously patched tarpaulin. Goggled and belted with electronics, his arms folded, his expression stern, a sweat-drenched little king. His boat rocks gently. As you approach, he looks sharply your way and breaks into an awkward smile. Hey, Wiggles, I was hoping you'd come around. You got a minute? What's up? Kindly had Wampoa burn your sin. Word is you're doing work for her, not normal Yellow Lotus stuff. Law shifts from foot to foot. He fidgets with the hardware on his belt. Shadow running. Yeah, now I'm an unusual asset. Wicked. Law says it distinctly in a hushed tone, then seems to catch himself. He draws himself to his full height. His usual demeanor of self-assurance returns. That's pretty ironclad, Wiggles. Pretty vicious. If you do good, you'll be noticed. Listen, if you got info about runs, I can make it worth something. We Wampoans call that kind of thing metadata. Wampoa likes to get the word on the street from the active operators. Worth something? Credits? Yeah, I could hook you up with something. Maybe credits, maybe some sweet programs. But really, you gain face with Wampoa. That counts for a lot of more than money, except money gets me food and stuff. Law looks out through the rain across the rocking boats. He wipes his foggy goggles lenses with a rag from his pocket. His stomach gurgles loudly. Augmented reality goggles aside, this gig gets really boring fast sometimes. You ever want to talk shop? I'm here. Tell me about Wampoa. We're pretty much the best, Gio. What do you want to know? The Law folds his arm impatiently as if he's irritated by your request, but he can't quite stifle a proud grin. You seem very outspoken, less modest than many Hong Kongers. Is that tribal? I am more outspoken, I don't need the meat space rituals. Modesty is inefficient. He shrugs dismissively. Is that a Wampoan thing? For those of us who are most dialed, maybe, we're post-cultural. Law sweeps his hand around, gesturing at the surroundings. I hardly see any of this meat space. Our meat space headquarters is a big 20th century ship that's totally awesome. Whatever, it's just meat space. Wampoa is bleeding edge on the path to becoming the singularity, and then the singularity, there's going to be nothing but straight-up truth. Law punches his fist down on the ground, striking a majestic pose like a Tridio barbarian. Bam! Boom! Truth! What's a Wampoa doing on Conway's Terror for you, liaison? What am I doing here? Law seems shocked at the question. I'm an ambassador. I broker Wampoan services to Heoi. Emissaries like me are all over Hong Kong, tying it together in an invisible network. So you work with Kindly doing tech for the Yellow Lotus? Well, I do some work directly with Kindly, but my focus is more the street level. We're all part of a big machine, each piece playing its critical role, as is so with a highly evolved machine. Exactly. That's why nobody messes with Wampoa. Boom! Does Wampoa provide a technical service for Hong Kong's poor? Sure we do. We run pirate networks. Our services are way more than most ordinary people want, though. You can get prepaid bandwidth with a corporate carrier for fractions of a nuyen, but you're selling your soul. They monitor it. If you want to operate unmonitored by corporate algorithms, you got to fly through the Wampoan network. It's the only place to be. Wampoans are coders and deckers for criminals, is that right? We do tech for anyone in the Kong outside the corporate umbrellas. Anyone else can use our networks if they pass our vetting and can pay for what we bring. Law speaks without a shred of irony. It's mostly the extra legal element that needs our skills. Just tell me about the tribe generally. Who are you guys? Law smirks. You really are new to the Kong, aren't you? You're the Neo-Matrix Collective. Or we're the Neo-Matrix Collective. We run the Hong Kong Data Haven and the Kong Shadow Nets. We are the Kong Shadow Nets. Outside the corporate nets is the rest of the Kong, and in those shadows you'll find the threads of golden light like a vast spiderweb that carry information. Those golden threads and that web is Wapoa. Law gives you a curt viral nod. My buddy R3D Storm wrote that. Pretty wicked, huh? Anyway, we're bleeding edge on the path to the singularity. We're doing things no one else in Tokyo is doing anywhere, except maybe Denver or Tokyo. Our homeland is the Matrix, and we're building a society of truth, expertise, and information. I understand someone's killing your elders? His face goes grim. A red light blinks on the VR goggles. A lens whirs, quietly focusing in on you. He grinds his teeth audibly, radiating nervousness and intensity. Yeah, shit's crazy. Full-on medieval. I can't talk about it. It's a tribal matter. Controlled information, right? We're going to solve it. That's all outsiders need to know. Actually, I've been contacted to help the elders stop the murders. Wow, really? We're pulling in outsiders? He shakes his head in disbelief. Well, I should have seen that coming. What the hell are you doing here? Go to the garden and help stop that shit. Then come back and tell me what's going on. Everybody's guessing. The elders are being quiet and the rumor hub is going crazy. Outsiders don't understand us. Maybe you can if you're really smart. We're in a whole different world than most people. Like, I'm seeing 3 streaming videos and live network stats in my goggles right now. Time's wasting, Wiggles. Law kicks one of the bins at his feet. The sea of electronic parts within rattle loudly. You gonna buy something? See you later, Law. You gotta go? Okay, watch your back and shoot straight and all. Law grins at you and dexterously flashes a hand sign that Shadowrunners each give each other hollow bid shows. I've got things to do, too. Sounds like such a zoomer. And this was before that was a thing. Alright, let's keep talking to other people, see who else we can chat with. Oh yeah, let's talk to Handsome Lee here. It's muggy out, even for Hawaii and monsoon season. You pause to mop your brow. Suddenly you feel eyes upon you. As you glance up, you meet the tranquil, searching gaze of a man half hidden in the shadows. He's wearing a clasped white tailored shirt, shirt sleeves neatly rolled with a dark gray silk tie and smart black trousers. If he's sweating, you don't see it. The man tilts his head ever so slightly in greeting. Ah, newcomer, welcome. He flashes you a brilliant smile, eyes glinting with amusement. You can just barely detect a faint trace of an accent in his voice. Handsomely is the name, purveyor of an enhanced sensory experience. I can see that you've got some tales to tell. You mentioned you sold enhanced sensory experiences. Let me see what you got so you can buy stuff from him. You're not from around here, are you? His smile flickers briefly. He's got a decent poker face, but you can see that he's rattled. No, why do you ask? You still got an accent, Lee. It's barely there, but I can hear it. He fidgets uncomfortably. You're right, I'm not from Hawaii. Keep going. I was born in Taiwan. I was forced to flee during the nationalist wars. I hear you have a slight accent as well. Seattle? Emphasis on the slight. The corner of his mouth curls smugly. It's your move, apparently. Yeah, we could fake it. Nah. Good guess, Redmond Barons. Handsomely suddenly fixes you with his gaze, sizing you up. His face is impassable. Nasty place. It toughened me up. I've got nothing to be ashamed of. I know just what you mean. My own life experiences will let me ready for anything. But we can discuss this another time, yes? Let us talk about business. I am a businessman, after all. How about it, friend? He opens his jacket, revealing a myriad of small, bulging pockets sewn in with interior lining. Can I show you my wares? I ran into someone with a message for you. Handsomely beckons you closer with a languid gesture. I think I can guess. Stephen Dynamite? He coolly raises an eyebrow at you. Yeah, actually, that's right, and you're his dealer. He places his hands on his heart in mock indignation. I am the inventor of such acclaimed experimental pharmaceuticals, but why split hairs? Well, your little guinea pig is suffering and claims that your drug you sold him has given him horrible visions. He pauses thoughtfully. Interesting. And what does he want from me? Well, what do you think? He wants his Nuyen back. He straightens abruptly from his elegant slouch and juts his chin out. There was absolutely nothing wrong with my latest creation. It was painstakingly designed to elevate the senses and titillate the spirit, a smooth high that I've indulged in myself. Now, if the unfortunate Stephen happened to dilute my masterpiece with other, lesser substances, I can hardly be held responsible. His tone of finality is unmistaken. You can use all the fire language you want. I'm not leaving empty-handed. He stares at you for a long moment, then reaches into his breast pocket with a deft motion. He pulls out a small packet and presents it to you. There's no money, not anymore. I have expenses, just as I'm sure you do. But here, give this to Stephen with my regards. Well, what's in the package? A freebie. It's what our dear Stephen Dynamite really wants, whether he'll admit it or not. Deliver it with my compliments. I thought that only the first hit was free. He conks his head to the side with a wry smile. I suppose I have a soft spot for my clients when I know they're down. Does this mean you poisoned him after all and you feel bad about it? The dealer emits a long, drawn-out sigh. I most certainly did not poison him or anything else for that matter. If Stephen is having bad dreams, they're coming from someplace else. I won't claim that my product can cure him of his suffering, but at the very least, it can provide him with some relief. Relief is the exact word he used. The dealer nods sagely. I told you that I know Stephen well enough to guess when he'd be desperate for another hit. So is his addiction the entire problem? Is that why he's suffering so much? Lee shakes his head slowly. No, I'm just not surprised to hear from him now because it was time. But I can't explain these unusual dreams he's having. Anyway, he holds the packet out toward you and gives you a shake. Take this, give it to him. It should help him, at least in the short term. Take the drugs for Stephen Dynamite. All right, Lee, I'll take it to him. Very good. Let me know how it goes when you're done. Anyway, you get bliss from him, but we're not going to keep that. Let's see what he actually got, though. So he sells crayon, bliss, kamikaze, nitro, and relaxant. But yeah, he's also a drug dealer, so. And like I said, no problems in this game. You can take all the drugs you want and not get addicted. I'm not saying drugs are bad, okay, but you know. The side of Matthew's trailer looks freshly scrubbed. It reeks of kerosene. Broad swathes of the flaking paint have been removed, revealing the brittle plastic siding discolored by years of acid rain. You can still see the faded black traces of erased graffiti. It reads, Job Stealer. Something thumps on the trailer. You could easily peer in one of the windows. Look in the window. Inside are dingy, cramped living quarters, cluttered with broken drones and unwashed dishes. What looks like a rumpled, motley colored shag carpet is heaped over with about half the tiny space obscuring most of the furniture. After a moment, the shag carpet moves, rises about a foot, and surges slightly towards the window. Then it stops, pulsing and fidgeting. It's hard to see if cleanly through the built-up grime in the window. Might wipe the window. The carpet is actually plush-covered drones. Teddy bears, raccoons, little dolls. There must be 24 inside the caravan, all companionship models. They're all looking at you as if they've realized you're not Matthew. They watch, fidgeting. Then, in one coordinated motion, they all lie down and go dormant again. What is this, Toy Story? Yeah, pretty much. I forgot what voice I gave Matthew at the last. Reliable Matthew greets you with an expansive grin, sweeping his arms aside. Wiggles, beautiful! To what do I owe this expected pleasure? Why, you're not here for some robotics, are you? Well, shucks! He rolls his shoulders ostentatiously and sticks his cigarello casually between his teeth. His eyes have a strained, bloodshot look. Looks like someone vandalized your trailer. What? You mean the paint? That's just some neighborhood kids. Good kids, having a lark. I nearly fell over laughing when I saw it this morning. How do people in Hawaii feel about drones? How do people feel about drones? Why, they love them. Just about every household that can afford drones has drones. You sure you don't want to try out this little UC2 tarantula? It's a great entry-level personal assistant. Reliable Matthew smiles widely, but the edges of his mouth twitch uncomfortably. Drones free people to take skilled jobs. They make the economy more efficient, and drones give poor people services they could never afford otherwise. Why would someone call you a job stealer? No idea. Drones are job makers. He waggles his cigarette at you. I know what you're thinking, Wiggles. I think it myself. Drones take jobs. Well, medicine takes jobs from undertakers, and sewer drones take jobs from people who used to crawl through the filth to feed their families. He holds his hand soberly over his heart, and his voice deepens. When you see a drone messenger or maid, it's easy to think, that used to be a person. Could be, but that person could do another job, and they can have a drone themselves. Everyone is better off. Why? Matthew's voice raises. His smile winkles painfully around the edges of his, as he carries on enthusiastically. The same people who call drone dealers job stealers often themselves come to me for... Matthew suddenly shuts up. The smile gets even more waxy. Hey, let's not get all wound up about this stuff. It's too cheery a day for running off in our heads, even though it's raining. What exactly are the drones you sell used for? Just about everything. They're helpers to metahumans in all sorts of useful ways. Drones cook, clean, carry messages, lift heavy loads, and tend to delicate tasks. Why, drones can even care for the infirm and provide companionship to children. Matthew taps his temple with his finger. Meaningfully. Think about it, beautiful. All the boring, dangerous, painful jobs that people used to do, the jobs that drones do now. He glances around at Heoi, up at the walled city looming above. Despite his bright eyes and gleaming smile, his voice sounds almost thoughtful. Because of mechanization, we don't force workers to breathe as many chemicals in the refineries. We don't make teenage girls pick silk cocoons out of boiling water. Not anymore. Drones help us. He shakes off his passing airs of seriousness, clamps the cigarette in his teeth, thrusts his hands in his pockets. They're really something else, ain't they? Wow, Wiggles, just that brisk smell, that brisk spring air. He inhales deeply through his nose, drawing in the fetid reek of the polluted river and the sodden heat of monsoon season. This topic is fascinating, really fascinating, but I've got to get back to work. Shall we walk the lot? I noticed you have a lot of drones in your trailer. Reliable Matthew smiles serenely at you. Drones in the trailer? Oh, I think I have a couple in there, probably ones I'm fixing. A couple? There must at least be a dozen. Matthew shrugs uncomfortably. Funny thing about drones, when you see a few, they always look like so many more. Weirdest thing, strange little fellas. Let's not talk about maintenance. It's boring. I bet there's something else you need today. Come on, Matthew. Yeah, because I'm not a rigger, so I don't need your drones. I don't need your stinking drones. Well, if it isn't the young one from before. Jin glances up at you, then returns his game. Why can't you see we're busy? Shu shakes his head at his friend. You never mind him. Is there something else you need? Thanks. Good luck with your game. I just appreciate it, young man. We'll see you. Okay. I didn't think they had anything new. Some characters just don't have anything, so. Yeah, let's talk to this sailor over here. Sailor man. 3 people, possibly locals, are busily hunched over, avidly discussing something beneath their breath. From the looks of them, they appear to be sailors. Rough-hewn clothes, stained by salt, leather skin, and an acute awareness of being on land. You watch their feet shuffle awkwardly on the docks. They whisper. Their whispers are just within earshot. I asked Crafty, and she said the same. Them dreams is bad. Think we'll lose them at sea? We're supposed to set out soon to make that delivery. What if they follow us? You see the man shudder. Nah, I don't think so. Crafty said these things. It's just affecting him right here for now. The first sailor points to the ground. As soon as we sail, dreams will stop. Hey! The third sailor sees you and taps her friends on the arms. They shoot upright. One examines his fingernails and the other coughs loudly and begins to hum. And the last pretends she didn't see you. But when they sense your continued stare, the third speaks up. What you looking for, Atlanty? There was a boat here with a merchant selling goods not too long ago. You leave? Yeah, he was that temporary guy from the previous couple episodes ago. The 3 sailors suspiciously turn to smirks. One snickers to herself. Merchant, he says. That crook didn't so much as leave as he was chased off by Connolly. No sales permit. Not a big loss, though. The local shops have way better stuff than the small-time hustlers. Why don't you look around? You'll find the shop owners more friendly toward you now that you've gotten okay with Connolly. Thanks for the tip. They all exchange a look. The first sailor responds, Right, and stay careful around these parts. However you talk about the dreams, I've had them too. You feel an uneasiness pass through the sailors. Seems anyone who comes by these parts is having them. And as soon as they leave, the dreams stop. Right here, isn't it? Any leads on why that's happening? We don't know much ourselves. We've only just returned from the last delivery, but the dreams ambushed us fast enough. Hey, what about that Crafty? The sailor turns to you. She runs the 5 phases. Smart girl. Might know a thing or two about this blight. You ask her, and she may have something more to say. Didn't mean to interrupt. See you later. Brooding tide of whispers resumes as your back turns to the sailors. But yeah, Crafty's one of those people that if you want the want a specific ending to the game, you actually need to interact with her and keep pushing her to deal with the nightmares and stuff like that. So let's see how she's doing. Hey there, still don't know anything about the dreams, I'm afraid. I'm looking on it though. In the meantime, I want you to buy something. I can hook you up. I'd like to see your wares. I don't think you have anything right now. I mean, I could buy a shamanistic card to improve my armor a bit, but we haven't gotten paid yet, so I'll hold off on buying stuff for later. So, yeah, not every chapter Crafty isn't going to have something, so, but always check with her anyway, just to make sure you've checked with just everyone. So, all right. Anyway, let's go back and talk to Steven Dynamite again. I'm Dynamite. And let's see what he has to say after. Anyway, Steven Dynamite lolls on the sidewalk while he jerks less as he moves. His skin has taken on a gray hue and his chest heaves with a labored breath. His sunken eyes swivel towards you. He wets his parched lips and addresses you. Hello, I'm relieved to see you. You might not return. Can't trust anyone. This is a bad place. Hey Steve, I hate to say it, but you're not looking hot. Fat tears begin to cascade down his dirty, ruined face. I don't want to sleep because of these nightmares. I'm ravenous, so ravenous, but food makes me ill. I've got the shakes real bad, too. I just want this to end. The junkie slumps in place, frowning his brow. He responds with difficulty. Anyway, thanks for taking talking to that little bastard for me. So you got my money? Give him the list. Lee doesn't have your money. He gave me this to pass off to you instead. The junkie's eyes light up at the side of the packet from handsomely. Oh ho! Just to warn you, it's the exact same stuff that you thought was poison. The man waves his hand dismissively. I must have been delirious or high at the time. Give it to me. Are you sure? One last hit. That's all I need to get by. Alright, it's your funeral. If you have strength of 5, you can say, I can't let you do this to yourself. If you take another hit, I'm going to hit you. You got it? But we can just give it to him, so. He's making his choice. He eagerly snatches the packet of bliss from your hand, his eyes lighting up with excitement. You lose the item. You could give it to, use it yourself, obviously, but anyway. Before you take that, I want to ask you about these dreams. He looks up at you, suddenly suspicious. You want to ask about my dreams? Why? Because some really weird stuff is going down in this town. Your story might shed some light on it. He stares at you in the eye, and his voice drops to a sharp whisper. These aren't like ordinary dreams. They're visions. They're so real. I put all kinds of substances into my body, and I've never experienced anything like it. We're practically raving the last time we talked. Explain your dreams to me again clearly this time. He nods, though his tongue stumbles and stalls as he speaks. I'm walking through a series of dark, narrow halls. It stinks to high heaven, and I run into more and more people as I move forward. The people are jostling me, but I'm starving like I haven't eaten for days. I just want some food, so I press on. I start seeing children in the ground. Children with terrible burns, disfigured faces. All these people are grabbing at me. He begins to tremble from head to foot, and his eyes bulge. Then I see teeth all around on me. I feel the teeth on me. Bathed in sweat from the effort of speaking, he cradles his head in his arms. Okay. Well, you must know that the drugs are making these nightmares worse, so why are you taking so many of them? The junkie gives you a weird smile. Because I need them. Yeah, it sounds like a junkie, alright. I used to get my kicks from explosives. I love blowing stuff up, seeing glass splinters, solid walls disintegrating, flames licking the sky. Not anymore, but I stick to needles and pills. Were you in the military? No, not so much. I was a bomb maker. I designed custom ordnance. It was a dream job, plus I was very lucrative. He rubs his thumbs and forefinger together and then snaps. Megacorps couldn't get enough of the devices I invented. I was too high in my own ego to wonder what they were up to. What were the Megacorps doing then? They were fueling wars. They often managed to sell to both sides in a conflict all over the world. Casualties be damned. So by selling them, there's blood on your hands? The junkie's already sickly pallor turns ashen. It's not even as simple as that, man. The man balls his hands into a fist in his lap. I thought my bombs were used in wars against militias, mercenaries, and armies. I didn't think of them as people, but that the weapons I developed were used against civilian targets. The man starts digging his rough fingernails into his palms so hard that tiny crescents of blood stain his palms. I'm from Gizwal. Sichuan has taken over much of the province, but pockets of resistance remain. These are big political struggles, actions removed from the lives of ordinary people. Yet the village where I grew up in Gizhao was annihilated. They were tobacco farmers, winemakers, peasants, not military. Tears leak from the man's eyes, tracing narrow lines down his filthy cheeks. I recognized the distinctive patterns, the traces that were left behind. These were my bombs used to shatter the landscape of my children. When the village was bombed, did you lose anyone that you knew? He meets your gaze with red-rimmed eyes as he throws his arms wide. I knew them all, from the frailest elders to the littlest children. My own family died too. We weren't always close. Pyromaniac inventors don't fit in well with agricultural backgrounds, but they were my only kin. Why would Szechuan bother to bomb a village? To break the spirit of the people? It broke mine. The junkie's shoulders heave and shake, and he passes a hand over his face. I just want to forget the drugs help sometimes. Okay, Steve, I think I'm getting on what's going on here. I guess I must be feeling guilty about the bombs, huh? All the blood on my hands. I can feel it all at the time. Just like bombs. I didn't want anyone to get hurt. He clutches his face, sobbing. How am I ever going to make this go away? How will I live with myself? The drugs help me forget, but he shakes his head and look at utter hopelessness on his face. Let's see. Well, you could start by helping some kids or stealing your bomb schematics back. Helping kids stealing my... The junkie sways mutely in place, gnawing on his clapped lower lips. I wouldn't know where to begin and didn't need time to think. You could show those megacorps that they can't use you, plot your revenge. A tight-lipped smile stretches across the man's ragged features as your suggestion registers in his brain. I honestly wouldn't mind using my expertise against those bastards. Might be reason enough to get clean. His shrunken eyes seem to sparkle at the thought. I'll tell you what, I'll think about it. He nods eagerly. I'll think real hard. I guess that's the best I could hope for. Best of luck, Steve. Thanks. And so we might have put him on the path to righteous indignation. It's hard to say. Alright, let's head to the bolt hole for a bit and check the BBS, and then we'll call it an episode, I think. Yeah, still more people to talk to, but that's just how it is in an RPG like this. Sometimes it's just how it's going to be. Your workstation and mission computer, yeah, same as before. We have 4 new messages. Alright, let's check them. About those dreams. Goblet's face winks into the screen. Her rats are perched precariously on her head, and she holds a laser pointer clutched between her thumb and forefinger. Oh, hey, killer. I hope that I didn't catch you at a bad time. She flicks the laser pointer, and her rat's head swiveled to the right to follow the motion. Why did I just say that? This is a recording. It doesn't matter if it's a bad time. Well, anyway, I was thinking about the talk that we had. You know, the dream talk and about the nightmares and stuff. Another flick of the pointer. The rat's head's turned left. Their nose is twitching. I've got a friend here in town. She runs the Parlor of 5 Phases. It's sort of our local magic shop and talismonger. Name's Crafty. Flick, the rat's heads turn upward to stare at the ceiling. Anyway, she's smart. Really smart. Her mom was sort of a local authority in all things magical, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If you want to ask anyone in town about these dreams, she'd be the right one to choose. She taps a button on the laser pointer with her thumb, and the little red dot in the tip goes dark. The rats immediately tackle one another, rolling off her head and falling out of sight. She gets up, her head rising out of the frame. Anyway, just thought it might help. If you've already been talking to Crafty, please disregard this message. Alright, I'm out. Peace. She punches a button and the screen goes black. Got it. Attending a party. From Conley Chain to Wiggles, attending a party. Wiggles, I need you to come to the parlor. A friend and business partner of mine named Dr. Shen Yang has need of your services. Something about attending a fancy party in Repulse Bay. He was unwilling to give me the details. I think he wanted to size you up himself. Alright. Raymond Black's history. Isabel to Wiggles, Raymond Black's history. Duncan asked me to do some digging on my own into Raymond's history. I guess he doesn't trust Kindly Chen to give him the full story. I can't say I blame him, since she'd hide things from us if it was in her best interest to do so. So I've been poking around various corners of the Matrix trying to dig up what I can. Most Sinless have a data trail that size of an aircraft carrier in their wake, working backwards in time. Raymond starts out that way, but it slowly tapers away into nothingness. Sure, I can find some basic recordings in Seattle, Power, Utilities, a couple of public discussion sites he signed up for, but the further back I get, the less I find. And the craziest part is this, prior to 2032, I can't find anything at all, and that shouldn't be possible. It's like Raymond didn't exist before then. I don't know. I'm going to keep digging, but it'll take me a while. I'll let you know when I get some news worth sharing. Isabel. Opportunity. Preface bypassed. Yo, come see me if you have a chance. I have a trade opportunity. Maximum law matrix. 1 PO integrated hub. 019411110 UC13 meet laws technology playlist. Done is what happens when I rain the fire. Ultrathon, Visgoth, Judge of Titan. What was that even? Anyway. Access to Shadow BBS. Alright, claim payment for the sold data from before for the exotic animal dealers. And we get 300 union and escrow fee for posting it, and we get 270. Nice. So just something a little extra. Alright, let's post pay data again. And this one's for the museum shipping manifest from the last mission. 2 days, which just means within missions. Any new BBS? Alright, let's check. Thread, please shit out of Victoria Harbor. I know you'll all be interested in that 50,000 the HKPF is promising connection with a terrorist cell they're hunting, so I've been digging around for some better information. Think I've got some stuff of value. Turns out they had a handler here in Hong Kong by the name of Raymond Black. The HKPF tried to take him into custody on the day before, but were forced to kill him in a shootout. Looks like Black and the terrorists are members of the White Star group out of Henan. Isn't White Star all about restoring Imperial China? One of those terrorists they killed was obviously North American. Why would she be helping a pro-imperialist group? You got money, you can buy any kind of person you need. You're on Shadowlands, May. You should know that. So, what do we know about Black and his band of thugs? Anything we can use to track them down? The data I've been able to dig up says that Black was from Hanan and was distinctly related to the royal family. He spent a couple of decades in Seattle making connections in the shadows in preparation for attack on the Free Enterprise Zone. I've attached some dossiers on his remaining agents. You sift through a long stream of detailed data detailing who you and Duncan are. While the general details about your name and life are correct, many of the small details are widely inaccurate. You're listed as having lived in Laos for the past 4 years, while Duncan is known as having spent most of his life in prison. You move on to peruse Goblin and Isabel's ostensible biographies. The dossier lists Gobbet's real name as Yu Chen Gui and her place of birth in Jian, Shengxi. According to the contents, she is 23 years old and served with the Baihu corporate military until conviction for insubordination led her to dishonorable discharge. While you can't be certain Gobbet doesn't speak Mandarin, the idea of her being in the military, any military, is downright laughable. Isabel in turn is listed as a Fatima Abukar. Apparently Isabel was educated at an early age in terrorism and piracy by the revolutionaries of the Ithomalian territories and is wanted in connection with the bombings of 2052 bomb attack on the French embassy in Johannesburg. Given that you know that Isabel grew up here in Hong Kong, this information appears to be as laughably inaccurate as your own dossier. Posy Bash. Alright folks, we're trying it again, this time under a super secret code name. There's no telling how long this will last, so let the bashing begin. Super secret codename? You just ran the words Poetry Slam through a thesaurus. Poetry people, not complaints. A thief on the run, a silencer in the dark, the rat shaman lurks. Got one for the coyote shamans too. An unbound trickster. This shaman fears no peril. Wily coyote. On a roll, Jivey. Here's another one, if Mad can stand it. Pulses of light glance off bright chrome. Translucent spheres encase my treasure. Mirrors and tubes and neon implode. Another day in the Matrix. Hey, I can do traditional. I happen to prefer the haiku, because less typing. Gossamer tresses, infinity in your gaze. Very pointy ears. Extra points for using gossamer correctly in a sentence. I like elves. Jivebird is still the master of the haiku, in fact. Oh, graveyard creeper, ashen skin, spindly fingers, and claws freak me out. Alright, Shakespeare's, this is strike 2. This thread is getting locked and you aren't doing this again. Got me? This board is for deckers who want to talk shop. There are plenty of other forums they can use for stupid amateur poetry. I suggest that you go find one. Sounds like a Discord mod. No, I've only used Discord for like D&D stuff back during the time, if you know what I mean. But not so much anymore. I prefer personal gatherings. Thread, top shelf sublet, available immediately. Like the title says, good location, cheap rent, serious offers only, please. What do you mean by top shelf, as in fancy court condo? How'd you manage that? Nah, man, it's literally the top shelf of the converted maintenance closet I live in. You're joking. No joke, it's cheap and the location's good, right near the Temple Street night market, and it has super fast access, just in case you need to get in and out of the Matrix quick. I'm not the sort to ask questions. There's just about enough space to stretch out your legs lying down. There's a ceiling hook in your gear. What do you say? Sounds like some houses in Japan. I don't know. I need a place, but still. A shelf and a shared closet. Screw that. I've got a sweet pad of rent that you can have all to yourself. It's not Victoria Park or anything, but it's a bargain. Where's that? Kowloon Walled City. It's one of the new construction units on the outer edge. I'll throw in a second ceiling hook. Deal? Okay, message me. We'll work out the nitty-gritty. Seriously, the Walled City isn't that bad. My apartment is huge, and it even has windows. I'll be a harbor rent. Just tell me what you want to pay. Hello? Yeah, no one's doing with that. Looking for a decker. Looking for experienced decker for a discreet milk run on a supply house for purveyors of recreational substances. Potential for a longer-term arrangement. We're a team that's been together for years, running your basic heist and occasional transport gig. We got a reliable fixer and a long list of happy clients. Requirement: you must have a good sense of humor. Hey, are you willing to give a newbie a shot? I've been in and out of Matrix since I was in school. I raised some creds doing odd jobs, so I've got a hot new cyber that I mentioned to try on a real run. I don't know, man. We really like to find a long-term decker. You kind of don't know your shit. You said so yourself. Sorry. Oh, come on, man. You said it was a milk ride. How easy would a Shadowrunner start if not with an easy gig? I'm being upfront with you. Doesn't that count for something? Fine, I got a test for you. You hack this guy, Captain Scone, and change the password to erotic massage. I'm on it. Thanks. Done. I'm in or what? Say yes. What the fuck? Amazoon, may I introduce you to our rigger, Captain Scone? You make a fine addition to our team. Thank you. You won't regret this. You gotta stop getting people to hack me, Gimme, or you're gonna be looking for a new rigger. Next. Oh, sorry. Rigger next. Ah, you know that you love me. That was fun. But anyway, all right, that's it for talking to everyone in town in the Shadowruns. But we still got to talk to our companions, and we got to talk to Conway Shang about the mission, and we got to go to sleep. But what happens next? What mission will we go on in the next time? We'll find out next time in the next episode of Shadowrun Hong Kong. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.